Vapour webcasting for a worldwide audience.
Hello, you're listening to Radio Lewis where the music matters. My name's Steve Brooks and this is Vapour Trails.
Can find no fault in you. It's all to say it, or I'll say it for you. If we stick around, we're sure to be looked down upon. What better way, or should I say, someone and find that you don't know them at all.
From 1982, that was The Associates and Club Country, the 7-inch remix, apparently. And yes, that's an RIP for Alan Rankin, who very sadly died on the 3rd of January. So yes, welcome to Vapour Trails here at Radio Lewis, from under the chapel to all over the world. And yes, well, today's theme is actually the London Underground. So starting us off is one from Phil Dyson, who said, "This surely is the only one you can play." And I'm also going to give a birthday shout out for Gary O'Day. And yes, Gary is a top boy, and that's boy spelt B-H-O-Y. Those who know will know. Anyway, especially for Phil and for Gary, this is the Pogues, Transmetropolitan. Oh, and by the way, there may be a swear.
in Whitehall, and Chris the GLC. And when we've done the bastards, then we'll start the BBC. Go and try and match your holiday. Yes, boy, from Surrey, just to Somers Town, a KMRIA. Go and try and match your holiday. Yes, boy, we shake the raspers, kick the shite, and I'm not going home. Yes, boy, yes, boy, from £5 back to Williamsville, so I saw such a dream. For a Friday in Vapour to a Tottenham ice cream. What's doing that on the way of kill and maim? When you haven't got a penny boys, it's all a bloody side. Go and try and match up on it. Yes, my name. From Penrith Road necessity to the beauty that's in the lane. Go and try and match up on it. Yes, my name. We'll drink the raspers, kick the shite, and I'm not going home. Yes, my name. Yes, my name. This town has done its dirty. This town has blessed dry. We've been here for a long time and we'll be here till we die. So I finish up the leaving of blood and glue and bear. I burn this bloody city down on the summer of the year. Go and try and match up on it. Yes, my name. From Arlington House to the two pub back to the Scottish store today. Go and try and match up on it. Yes, my name. We'll drink the raspers, kick the shite, and I'm not going out. Yes, my name. Yes, my name. Yes, my name.
two together there. So we had the Pogues and Transmetropolitan from their 1984 debut album Red Roses for Me, and then that was followed by what Paul Weller calls the greatest English song ever, The Kinks and Waterloo Sunset from 1967, and that was specially chosen by Caroline Mersey, so thank you very much, Caroline. I'm also going to play that to one of my favourite Australian professors. Yeah, see? Yeah, I've got a list. Tara Browbrazen. And it was Tara's birthday on Tuesday, so I hope you had a great one, Tara. And what I was going to say about that was, do you remember Bob Geldof made a follow-up to Waterloo Sunset? God, the cheek of it. Yes, it was called Love Like a Rocket and featured the further adventures of Terry and Julie. And it was ruddy awful. That's all I can say about that. Oh, and the other thing I was going to say about the Pogue song was every so often I kind of think, I'm just going to go and have a nice quiet night out, put some music on while I'm getting changed. And if it's that song, oh dear, things go very, very much awry. Anyway, next up, especially for Kevin McVeigh, this is Trembling Bells and Marble Arch. featuring the vocals of Lavinia Blackwell. That was the Scottish folk group Trembling Bells, and Marble Arch, which can be found on their 2016 album Wide Majestic Air, and that was the choice of Kevin McVeigh, so thank you very much, Kevin. Okay, next up, especially for Chris Rhodes, bit tenuous this one, and yes, this is St James's Infirmary Blues, and as Chris points out, can I have that as St James's Park? Oh, go on then. Anyway, Tom Jones, Jules Holland.
St. James Infirmary to see my baby there. She was lying on a long white table, so weak, so cool, so fair. I went up to see the doctor. She's very low, he said. I went back to see my baby. Great God, she's lying there dead. I went down to old Joe's barroom on the corner of the square. They were serving drinks as per usual, and the usual crowd was there. On my left stood old Joe McKinley. His eyes were bloodshot red. He turned to the crowd who was standing around him, and these are the words he said. Let her go, let her go. God bless her wherever she may be. She may search the whole world over, but she'll never find a man like me. Oh, when I die, won't you please bury me my high top Stetson hat? Put a gold piece on my watch chain, so they know I died standing in pat. Get 6 gamblers to carry my coffin, and 6 chorus girls to sing my song. Put a jazz band on my tailgate, so they can race hell as we go along. Now that's the end of my story. Let's have another round of booze. And if anyone should ask you, tell them I got the St. James Infirmary Blues. gets me down. They're leading to Keeney wall to wall. Toddy up for girls and her S6 strong. La 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 la
haven't heard that for many a long year. Yes, that was Cud and Mind the Gap demo version, which can be found on a collection called C87, which I presume was the follow-up for the phenomenally popular C86. So there you go. And that was the choice of Brian Andrews, our man in the Twitter sphere. So thank you very much, Brian. And before the jingle there, you heard Tom Jones and Jules Holland and their version of the St. James Infirmary Blues, which originally was recorded, I think, in 1928 by Louis Armstrong, although no one really knows where the song came from. And yes, so taking us up to the middle of the show, well, we've got the Ali B moment. And this is Tori Amos. And yes, in 2011, Tori Amos released Night of Hunters, which was a classical album and actually released on the classical label Deutsche Grammophon. And yeah, it was apparently in the top 10 of classical albums and the top 10 of rock albums at the same time. So yes, I'm also going to say hello to Sarah and Tracy of the plastic surgery part of the dermatology department of Brighton General Hospital, who this morning took a lump out of my ooter. Certainly did. Yes, I had a mole in there. I don't know how that got in there. But yes, they took it out. So, yes, thank you, Sarah, and thank you, Tracy. Yes, it's just starting, the numbness is starting to wear off. So, yeah, ow. Anyway, get on with it, Steve. Yes, Tori Amos, Seven Sisters.
OMG. It's Vapour Trails on Radio Lewis.
From 1983, that was the Pointer Sisters and Neutron Dance, as featured on the soundtrack of Beverly Hills Cop. I think it was also on an album of theirs called Breakout. And yes, that's another RIP for the lead singer Anita Pointer, who died on New Year's Eve. And before the break there was the Ali B moment with Tori Amos and Seven Sisters. So thank you, Ali. Okay, next up, and I'm going to give a shout out to two birthdays that are coming up tomorrow. My cousin Mandy Tasker and also Anna Shannon. So I hope you both have a good day. And just for you, this is Squeeze and Piccadilly.
On a jumper, explains that you'll be late to a worry
I do love that song. Yes, Squeeze and Piccadilly, and that was taken from their album East Side Story that came out in 1981. And actually, that was one of the first albums I ever owned. I think I had the specials and more specials by then on cassette, but I didn't have much on vinyl. And my dad had a win on the horses, and he was like, "What do you want, boy?" And I was like, "Oh, I'll have the Squeeze album, please, Dad." And yeah, I've owned a few copies of it ever since. I used to wear it out all the time. Anyway, it's coming up to the Vapour Trail's obligatory 4 songs together on the B-side. He got that round the wrong way, didn't he? Oh, never mind. We're starting off with one requested by John Fagg, he of the Sherbet Pear Drop Explosion, another great band if you ever get a chance to catch them. And another band that John was in the mid-80s was the Ogdens. And I was scratching my head because it rings a bell, the Ogdens, and that was kind of when I first started playing in bands as well. It's all Dr. Martin shoes and rolled up jeans. And yeah, anyway, this is them. They were a favourite of John Peel's as well, apparently. And this is Train to London Bridge.
Oh, one day soon I expect to wake up, find you in my coffee cup. Then I'll light another cigarette. I start wishing you were dead. Catch the train to London Bridge. This will be 7 years. When you're gone, I will be hell. No one here to share myself. No one left to share my bed. Now I wish that I were dead. Catch the train to London Bridge. This will be 7 years. Smell of your perfume. Your clothes messing up my room. I'm with some radio, pleading with you not to go. Doing it again, whispers to my head. One day soon we will both be dead. I'm gonna catch the train to London Bridge. This will be 7 years. Catch the train, London Bridge. Catch the train. Catch the train, yeah. Catch the I went out one morning in the spring to Blackfriars Bridge to watch the tide come in. The tide came in and covered up the ruins and the mud. Beneath the sun it flowed like a vein of blood. To the north there lies the temple and the tower, the treasuries and sanctuaries of power. I looked along the river to the shores of Silver Town, putting up castles, what are they tearing down? Down to the river, up to the sea. People in the city are making history, changing history. One view shows a white cathedral dome, the galleries and mansions made of stone. One view chose a ghetto rise beyond the sewerage. One of these views they call our heritage. Down to the river, up to the sea. People in the city are making history, changing history. What's from Muffin Ducks, the pirates claim.
to live. We didn't have nowhere to go till someone said, I know this place off Birded Road. It was on the 15th floor. It had a board across the door. It took an hour to prize it off and get inside. It smelt as if someone had died. The living room was full of flies. The kitchen sink was blocked. The bathroom sink not there at all. Ooh, it's a mess, alright. Yes, it's my now we're living in the sky. I never thought I'd live so high, just like heaven, if it didn't look like heaven. The lift is always full of piss. The fifth floor landing smells of fish. Not just on Friday, every single other day. Below the kids come out tonight. They kick a ball and have a fight, and maybe shoot somebody if they lose at pool. It's a mess, alright. Yes, it's
That's the sound of them all walking down to go down.
nobody wants to be your friend, 'cause you're not from round here. As if that was something to be proud about. The pearly king of the Isle of Dogs feels up children in the box. Down by the playing fields, someone sets a car on fire. I guess you have to go right down before you understand just how low a human being can go. Ooh, it's a mess, alright. Yes, it's
That's gorgeous, isn't it? Yes, that was Mile End by Pulp, and that can be found on the collection Different Class, Second Class. And that was the choice of Gillian Pierce. So thank you very much, Jill P. And before that, he says, rustling his paper. Can you hear that? Yes. Yes, it really is recorded live. No, it's all right. I edit the talent in later. And yes, before that, we had the Ogdens and Train to London Bridge from around about the mid-80s, 86, 87, I'm not too sure. And that was the choice of Ogden guitar player John Fack. So thank you very much, John, for sharing that. And then that was followed by The Men They Couldn't Hang and Blackfriars Bridge from 1989's album Silvertown, and that was the choice of Alan Walker, so cheers, Al. And then that was followed by Robert Hazard and Escalator of Life from 1982, and that can be found on a compilation called New Wave Hits of the 80s, Volume 8. And that was the choice of Jonathan Badley. And as John points out, there are apparently 451 escalators on the London Underground. And yes, I think I've stood on quite a few. Perhaps I should put stickers down or something and find my way around. Anyways, got a couple more to go. So next up, especially for Tony Keane, have some madness and Return of the Lost Palmers 7. As requested by Tony Keane, that was Madness and Return of the Lost Palmers 7. And if you're wondering what the London Underground link is, of course, it's the cover of the album, absolutely, that track can be found on, has Chalk Farm on the cover. And in the inner sleeve, they actually had a logo kind of like a tube station for Cairo East, which I think ends up on Waiting for the Ghost Train video many years later. Anyway, cheers for that, Tony. I'm also going to play that for one of the old boys from Bovingdon in Hertfordshire. Yes, the village of fear itself, Kev Gurney, whose birthday is tomorrow. So I hope you have a great birthday, Kev. And yes, first one of the batch of 66, I believe, to have his birthday. So yes, there's quite a few of us. And yes, mine will be in due course. Time for me to say thank you to the sharers and carers as always, and thank you for everyone that's requested on this theme of the London Underground. God knows what we're going to do next week. I haven't really thought about it, to be honest, but I'm sure something will pop up. And in the meantime, I'm going to leave you with this. From 1988, this is The Fall and their version of Victoria. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Ta-ra.
Stay home for the Lord.
Okay, that was the last song. You can fast forward and turn over the tape now.
Radio Lewis. Local community webcasting.